Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to today's Wild Rift video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Thresh, a brand new champion that just came out to Wild Rift. Now for me, this is the most excited I've been about a new champion for a long time. I used to main Thresh a lot and play Thresh a lot on PC League of Legends. So now he's finally out on Wild Rift. I'm really excited to bring you all this guide. As always, we're going to be taking a look through the build. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks. We'll look through all the abilities and we'll have some gameplay to show off to you all as well. If you're enjoying all the Wild Rift content on the XL channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video as well. And comment down below what your first thoughts of Thresh are. That's enough of me talking, let's head into today's video. Thresh is a tank support. He is a strong early game champion that transitions well into the late game with his strong zoning and CC abilities. Thresh has a lot of tools that can both look for engages and also being able to disengage as well at the same time. Now with that being said, Thresh is not the easiest champion to play and might take a little bit of practice to get used to him, but once you understand what he can offer and his kit, you'll be able to carry every single game really easily. Moving on to the build, Thresh benefits a lot from building a lot of tank items, so health, armor and magic resist, but he also likes to build a little bit of ability haste as well, so he can use his abilities more often. With that being said, the first item is Zeke's Convergence. Has a lot of armor and a lot of magic resist, which I said really benefits Thresh a lot. You get some max mana in there and also some ability haste. It also has a really nice passive as well, which casting your ultimate surrounds you with a blizzard and ignites all nearby allies attacks for 10 seconds. Your blizzard also slows enemies as well by 20% and your allies attacks burn them, dealing bonus magic damage. Moving on to the next item, we have Protector's Vow, which is a very core support item that will help you and your ADC out a lot. You get a lot of max health, some armor and some ability haste, but the main reason is for that protector passive. Raise your guard when next to an allied champion, and if you or your ally takes damage from a champion, monster or turret, both you receive a shield and also gain a little bit of movement speed. Moving on to the boots, in this build we've gone for the plated steel caps. Most of the time this will be the best option for Thresh. If you are against a lot of AP damage, a lot of magic damage, then you can go for Mercury treads as well, which will help you out a lot in that instance. And for the boots upgrade in this build, we've gone for Locket. Just gives you a nice extra shield that you can activate every time. Moving on from our 3 core support items that you want to build pretty much every single game, now's the time where you want to build more tanky items so you can keep yourself alive. First item being Dead Man's Plate. You get a lot of maximum health and a lot of armor, and you also get a nice little bit of movement speed as well. Now movement speed works really well with Thresh. You want to always get into range of either your Flay, your third ability, or your Death Sentence, the first ability. You also have the Momentum passive as well, which moving builds up momentum, granting up to 50 movement speed at 100 stacks, and then when you attack someone, it removes all the momentum. The next item, we have Force of Nature. This is going to be another movement speed item that gives you some health and some magic resist. You also have the passive as well, Absorb. So after taking magic damage, it grants 6 movement speed and 6 magic resist for 5 seconds, and it stacks up to 5 times as well. So you get a maximum of 30 movement speed and an extra 30 magic resist. And for the last item, we have Randuin's Omen. Again, another really big tanky item, a lot of maximum health and a lot of armor, and the main reason for this item is for the armored passive. Reduces damage from critical strikes by 15%. Now in the meta at the moment, there's a lot of crit builds going around with all the new items that got released in 2.4. If you don't know about that, you can go and check out my patch 2.4 rundown. And you also have Cold Steel as well, which reduces the attack speed of enemies by 15% for 1.5 seconds when struck by an attack. Now most of the time with Thresh, you will be in the middle of a team fight. You will be at that core front. You will be at the front line. So you will be attacking enemies a lot, and you want to try and prioritize obviously reducing the attack speed of their enemy carries. Moving on to the runes, for the first rune we have Aftershock. This is a core rune that you must take every single time on Thresh. With Thresh, you have so many ways of immobilizing enemies. You've got your first ability, your third ability, and even your ultimate. and after you immobilize an enemy you gain defenses and later deal a burst of magic damage around you. So you could gain up to 35 armor and 35 magic resist when you walk up and if you land your death sentence or your flay. And then at the end of it as well, because most likely you will be on top of the enemies, you will deal some extra damage as well. So it's a really nice core rune that you want to build all the time on Thresh. Now talking about immobilizing, that comes with the next rune as well, weakness. So impairing the movement of enemy champions makes them take 5% more damage in the following 5 seconds. Moving on, we have loyalty. Now loyalty is a really nice support rune that can help you and your AD carry out. You gain 2 armor and 5 magic resist, and your closest ally gains 5 armor and 2 magic resist. And for the last rune, we have Pack Hunter. While near ally champions, you gain 2% movement speed, and for each unique ally you participate in a takedown with, you gain 50 gold, and the allies gain 50 gold as well. And lastly, for the spells, we have Flash and Ignite. Now, Flash is obviously a great rune all the time on every single champion. It allows you to dash a short distance, so you can use your Flash in combo with all your abilities, or you could try and flash away at the same time. And with Ignite, Thresh is a great early support champion and wants to be very aggressive and make them early plays. So Ignite helps with just dealing that extra bit of damage, and it also applies grievous wounds as well, so the enemies, when they use healing abilities, they will be reduced as well. Now let's take a look at the passive and the abilities for Thresh. First things first is the passive, which is Damnation. Thresh can harvest the souls of enemies that die near him, and each soul permanently grants him 1.5 armor and 1.5 ability power. Now this can work on objectives, on minions, on champions, and everything as well. If I just quickly kill a few minions here, you will see that a blue soul drops. So what you have to do is you have to walk towards the soul and you pick it up just like that. And as you can see at the bottom, I now have one soul harvest, so I get a bonus 1.5 armor and ability power. Moving on to the first ability, we have Death Sentence. Thresh throws out a scythe starting in the first unit hit and pulling them in for 1.5 seconds. The scythe deals magic damage and also grants true sight for a few seconds, meaning that you can see them if they are out of vision. You can recast this ability and you can also dash towards the enemy that you have hooked. And the cooldown is reduced as well by 3 seconds if you hit an enemy. As you can see, when I use the ability, the dummy will go towards me for a few seconds. And as mentioned, you can recast this ability as well. So when I activate my hook, I can recast it again and fly towards that champion. Now this is a core ability for Thresh that just allows him to make a lot of plays. For the second ability, we have a Dark Passage. Thresh throws a lantern to a target location, allowing an ally to tap the minion button to dash to Thresh. The shield allows Thresh and his ally to absorb damage, and the amount of damage that can be absorbed is also increased as well with the amount of souls that you get. Again, a pretty straightforward ability. Your lantern, it has quite a lot of range. So all you have to do is throw this on an allied champion, and that allied champion will gain that shield. And as you walk over the lantern as well, you will also gain that shield. It's very important that if you want to gain the shield yourself, you have to make sure you use the ability on top of you, just like this. But if you want an ally champion to gain a shield, you have to throw it on top of them. And as mentioned, you can use your lantern when you throw it on an ally champion to walk over them, and you will also gain the shield at the same time. Now there's 2 radiuses with Thresh's second ability. You have the first radius, which is how far you can throw the lantern, and when you throw the lantern, you also have this outer ring as well. And as you can see, this is how far I can walk before the lantern comes back to me. So for example, if I threw my lantern out to this allied champion, and if I wanted to move towards the mid lane, I can move towards mid lane. But if I move outside of this circle, as you can see, the lantern disappears and I gain the shield straight away. Moving on to Thresh's third ability, we have Flay. Now Flay has 2 parts, a passive and an active. The passive is basic attacks that deal additional magic damage based on how many souls you have, and based on how long since you last attacked. And the active is Thresh whips out his chains, pulling or pushing enemies in the direction of the swing. And the enemies hit are also slowed by 35% for a second and also take magic damage. Now, as mentioned, you can use the Flay in two separate ways. You can push enemies away from you, or you can push enemies towards you. Now, pushing enemies away from you, as you can see, the indicator shows you with arrows whether you're going to be pushing them away from you or towards you. When you push enemies away from you with your Flay, as you can see, you just use your Flay and you push enemies away from you. Or you can use it the other way and push enemies towards you. And last but by no means least, we have the box. Thresh creates a prison of spectral walls, slowing champions by 99% for 2 seconds. And dealing a bit of magic damage as well. Walls break after 1 collision, and after 1 is broken, the rest deal half damage and slow for half the duration. And it's really important to note as well that an enemy cannot be affected by multiple walls simultaneously. Now, when holding ability, you can see the radius of the box, and when you activate the ability, you can see that you've got the radius of the box there. But the good thing about the box is it doesn't actually affect allies or yourself. When you use the box, you can walk at pretty much any direction you want to. The main thing for the box is for the enemy champions. As you can see there, when an enemy gets hit by the box, the wall will disappear. As you can see here, if I use it on this dummy, that part of the wall will disappear. Now let's quickly talk about a few core combos that I have with Thresh. There's a lot of combos with Thresh and a lot of things that you need to learn with Thresh over time. But I'll give you a few tips and tricks now to give you a little bit of a head start. The first combo is just a simple combo which combos your Death Sentence and your Flay, your first and your third ability. When you use your first ability, as mentioned, you pull enemies towards you. So you can combo this with your third ability to pull enemies even further towards you. When you use your hook, when you pull enemies in, you can then combo that with your Flay. And as you can see, you can pull enemies even further towards you. You can also use the second active of your first ability and use your Flay in mid-air as well. When I use my hook, if I activate it again, I use my Flay. As you can see, I can use it in mid-air to pull enemies towards your allies. You can also use this the other way around as well, and a reason why movement speed is really good. If you're walking towards an enemy champion, you can walk towards them, use your Flay to slow down the enemies, and then you can combo that straight afterwards with your hook. Now, slowing down enemies with your Flay just makes your hook a lot easier to hit. Now, an important thing to note with your box is that you can use your box in combination with your third ability. As you can see here with the target dummy is not going to be in range of the box. But what I can do is I can activate the box and I can use the Flay to actually knock enemies towards the walls. This obviously allows you to just deal loads of damage, and it also lets you slow the enemies as well at the same time. And the last tip I have for you is a combination with your lantern and your hook. Now, as mentioned with your lantern, you can throw out your lantern and only walk a certain range. But this range could be even further, and it could benefit you and your teammates a lot. Now, if you see that an ally is quite far away, you can use your lantern to basically bring your allies in. And as your ally is traveling towards you with the lantern, you can use your hook and you can actually fly straight to the enemy champion straight away. Now let's talk about leveling priority. Most of the time you want to go for your third ability at level 1. This is really good with your passive, allowing your auto attacks to deal more damage early on. And you can also walk up and proc your aftershock really easily just by landing a simple Flay. Now at level 2, you always want to go for your first ability. This allows you to get the really neat combo of landing a hook into Flay, so you not only stun the enemies, but you can also slow them as well. And this will allow Thresh to make a lot of plays. Then at level 3, you want to take your lantern, so you have all your abilities available. Then after you have all 3 of your abilities available, you want to make sure you max your first ability. This allows the cooldown to be much less and you to just deal more damage. Then after your maxing of the first ability, you want to go for your second ability. Again, just allows the cooldown to be less and also allows that shield to be a lot more. And then finally, you want to level up your third ability. Obviously making sure that the whole time you level up your ultimate, the box, when available. In conclusion, Thresh is a very fun champion to play and works well into pretty much every single support that is in Wild Rift at the moment. Thresh works well into pretty much any single comp. If you're looking for a full engage comp that needs knockouts for Yasuo, Thresh is your guy. If you're looking for a full disengage against all them assassins to try and keep yourself and your ADC alive, Thresh is your guy. Make sure you head into practice mode as well and learn all the tips and tricks and all the little combos, because these combos will just make you feel a lot more comfortable and fresh and allow you to make them big massive plays to win the game. And there you have it. That's everything you need to know about the Chain Warden Thresh. Now, even if you're not a support main, it's really fun to give Thresh a try. His kit and just the way he works is just one of the best designed champions that Riot has ever done. If you have any questions about Thresh or any thoughts, let me know down in the comments. And as always, take care of yourselves and I will see you all very soon. Peace.